God's afternoon to you all. We are back with another stock pick of the week. This week we're looking at two very different names. The first being Affirm, that's ticker symbol AFRM, and Wafer, ticker symbol W. So, with every weekly pick, we have to start from, you know, top down how we are viewing the current setup, and if it aligns with the higher time frame placement. So starting from the monthly, okay, we'll focus for now on W just because it has a catalyst this week with earnings coming due Tuesday morning. Okay, so Affirm, or sorry, excuse me, Wayfair has been in consolidation now for um, about 2 years. I mean, if we go back to 2022, we're still within the body of this April 2022 candle, but definitely still below this May 2022 candle. So we've been here for over 3 years now, kind of in this 92 to call it 32 range. So 60-point range for just over 3 years. I do expect expansion out of it at some point, but um, every stock pick is for this current week. So let's take a look at what we have going into this week for Q3 earnings. So the monthly, I would say, has a bullish setup. Um, it does look like we manipulated down near the open of September's monthly candle. And honestly, when we put in a candle like we did in September, I would expect it to retrace deeper. So here in July, we got a pretty shallow retrace. We did open below the close of this July monthly, and we did the same here in October. We opened below the close of September, retraced near the open. But let's take a look now at the weekly time frame. So uh, by the looks of it, it looks like we put in a bearish order block here. Okay, here on the weekly. All right, and then we have a couple of bullish order blocks. This one here, but just because this one is lower, I'm gonna mark this one. Okay. So the way I typically go about determining what direction the breakout is going to happen in, like I said, it's a factor of alignment with the higher time frames, but then also it's a matter of what move came first. Okay, so this candle here is from September, the beginning of September, and we kind of hovered around, these highs up here until we got to this candle, the very first week of October. So while most of the market was opening high, right? If it's a simple concept where if a new candle opens high, which is goes to resistance first, it's going to make a larger move to the downside. And so most of the market, mainly the tech sector, opened high. Then we saw those retracements happen, and by middle of October, we got those sell-offs happening. But instead, Wayfair opened low. Okay, so it went and tested pretty much the midpoint of this weekly bullish order block, and then it bounced out of it, and it tested nearly the midpoint of this bearish order block. So it went low, it went high. Now, my issue with having such a bullish bias with Wayfair is that I do think that the expectations for its earnings are increasing. As you can see here, the market reacted pretty strongly to earnings here in April, and then again here reporting in August. So going into this week, we tested support, retested resistance. Now I do think we potentially come and uh, test further support. And my level is this imbalance here on the weekly at 65, 60 down to 65.28. So anywhere within this bullish order block, I'm looking to grab some longs. And similar to the Tesla trade last week, we're going to wait until earnings come out because, quite simply, there's nothing in theory that would move price so aggressively prior to earnings here at these levels. So we're simply just going to wait until we get there. And another thing that's really important to look at, there's another concept, as some ICT traders know, equal highs and equal lows. So we have equal lows, um, which basically makes it an easy target to come and mitigate. So we have a low here on this weekly candle, this huge down close candle of 73.61, and again here 73.61. So my thought is that before we come and test any highs here, we actually have relative equal highs here as well. Um, my thought is that we come and test below these levels. So the next level that I have that this month has not gotten to yet would be here near 65. I did check the options chain to see if there was any support building for puts down here. And it's, it's somewhat, I would say I'm not as familiar with Wayfair in terms of how options are, um, transacted there, but there is some uh, buying of puts near these levels. So my thought is if we open low, meaning we don't get a pop on Monday, but instead we start to sell off on Monday, if we open low, I think the level that we're going to find the most support at to eventually turn higher for the remainder of the year. I do think there's a lot of reason to speculate that the end of the year will be pretty strong, just given the nature of the holiday season. Um, you know, there's a huge, unfortunate divergence happening with um, higher income individuals compared to lower income. And though the data that's reported doesn't show the breakup of household income types in terms of credit usage and saving rates, uh, I think it's fair to kind of assume, just given how our economy is kind of shaped today, and then when you hear within your circle, or you can even go on Reddit and look at the subreddits, like the people who are struggling the most are those with lower incomes, just trying to um, live day to day, week to week, month to month. And so I do think we'll find ourselves at new highs for the year, but I do think there is one more level to um, sort of resolve before we get to those highs. Now, I'm totally okay with being wrong on this. This is not a priority trade for me. This has a lot more speculation um, than the other trade I'm going to mention. But for now, that's all that I'm considering with this trade. I'm just looking for. Let me pull up my drawing tool here. I'm not sure which one I want to grab. Um, but yeah, I'm just basically looking for open low near this level. And then I don't know if we come out of here, um, probably, test this open, one more retrace, and then, we're somewhere here. but um, that is the level I'm looking for coming out of this week. My goal is to basically just build a little more capital for the affirm trade. Um, but if I don't get this level down here, I'm not rushing to take it. I would probably excuse me. I would probably target 80 to 85 in terms of um, the max target for this week. So coming out of this 65 level, I would say the 70 calls would be pretty modest yet aggressive for a decent return. But at a minimum, we need these lows to be taken out at 73.61. Okay, so pivoting from Wayfair, we're coming over now to Affirm. And let me just find my drawing tool. I don't use it often, so I do apologize if I can't find it. Um, I guess I'll use my brush. But anyway, Affirm I think has a better um, look for me and the system that I tend to trade. So this candle type here is very familiar and it's easy for me to interpret. I do think that a firm is tricky on the daily time frame because it does tend to leave a lot of gaps. So we do have to look at the higher time frames to really build our bias and our thesis going into each week. So it looks like here on the monthly we got a near perfect tap into our our 9 EMA. So the low of this month was 67.49. The EMA is marked at 67.51. So we've already gone and kind of retested this EMA down here. So I think in my earlier days, I would believe that the manipulation's done on this ticker for the month, and possibly for the remainder of the year. But when I look at this candle, this weekly candle, and the imbalance that it left here on the weekly time frame, it leads me to also speculate that the manipulation is not done for the month. I am very much bullish on a firm in terms of fundamentals. We do see, uh, the Fed moving in the direction of um, consistent rate cuts. Okay, and so that alone, I think, lends to potential higher returns in this sector. So fintech, even banking, a lot of those charts look great. I do think because there's volatility in this name, it warrants the attention this week going into the next Fed decision. There's also other factors. I think there's consumer numbers coming out Friday. So if we take a look, yeah, so we have PCE, personal income. So all these things are factors going into this week. My thought is that sometime before the rates come out, we'll be trading uh, here 66.30. So this imbalance on this weekly candle is 66.41. So I do expect us to get at least to this level, 66.41, and any potential levels below, I think, can be found here on the daily. I do have this order block that price kind of consolidated out of, did a 5 wave move. This last candle here, dipping further into this bullish order block, and then kind of just breaking out and going into its next consolidation phase before earnings. And so Firm is one of those stocks that really, really does depend on external factors kind of getting it to, its next pivot areas. So we did close pretty bearish on the daily on Friday. But again, to the untrained eye, you would think like this is like the actual move is a sell off further. While I do believe we are going to retrace, as I mentioned, I think the ultimate destination is further upside, clearly above earnings high. 100 on the dot for the yearly high is insane to me. Um, so there's definitely reason to believe that we should be coming back for this level. But first, we're hoping to see, an open low on um, this weekly candle. And so, yeah, I think this one is straightforward. Uh, we might see some movement out of this level, 67.90. Um, but I honestly do not believe that we'll come down here and not either close this gap from Friday, August 1st, or come back into this order block that we've had our strongest moves out of. So 65, I did see a lot of put action near this level. I believe there's over 4,000 contracts right now for the 70 and 63 strike. So I think there's a support building in between those two ranges. Sorry, in between those two levels. So like I said, like at a minimum, I want to see 66.41 get resolved, and then if you could come back into this order block, that would be tremendous as well. But I'm not making any sudden movements until we get here. And my ultimate destination would be 80 plus. So we could even come and resolve this gap here at 81.53. But I do think we close above the 79 level, obviously getting into the 80 range. And so, yeah, that would be an absurd manipulation last week of the month, really throwing off any sense of bullishness. But I do think, that's just the way the market moves. And retail needs to understand that, like, it doesn't generally just trend in one direction. I mean, we have seen that in some names where the the low was put in for the year, um, and that was it. No deep retracement. Slows down a little bit for the EMAs, MAs to catch up, and it just continues kind of like in this almost exponential sort of movement. But Affirm is not one of those names. As you can see, it gets to its levels and it takes its sweet time retracing. Here is December 2023 to August 2024. So that's 8 9 months there, and then here's another movement, retrace, and so like that's to be expected. And one thing I've found, to be consistent with retail again is we treat we tend to treat every ticker like our favorite ticker, right? There's so many nuances, to price action. Um, you know, differs by sector, it differs by name. So you can't treat every single ticker the same. But it is good to study and look at the way it moves so you can get a good understanding um, of what might come next. And so I am at the end of this video. Um, there's not a lot to, you know, overcomplicate with this setup. Again, I think the monthly is strong. I do think we close with a hammer similar to this month here, April of this year. I don't know if we put in an upper width, but I definitely think the candle body itself is going to look similar to this one. And yeah, I am looking for us to retrace down here to 66.41 at a minimum, and potentially deeper into the 65 range, which will put us at this daily order block that formed here. And yeah, closing somewhere above 79.80, potentially reaching this gap here at 81.53. All right, guys. Like always, plan your trades, stick to that plan, and live to trade another day. There's no reason to be upset, to rush into anything, but simply wait and watch for what you are expecting to see. If you don't get it, understand what's happening in the moment and take note of it, and let the day close before you make any decisions. But I will be posting an update um, on this trade and the Wayfair trade throughout the week. So hopefully, if you guys do benefit from it, leave some comments and we can talk about it. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day and have a great, great trading week. God bless you guys.